Friday night, 10:30. On the clock above the door at 306 West Franklin Street, a security camera watches the entrance. A young woman walks into frame. She has spent the evening at Artscape, an outdoor festival a short walk away, and it shows in the way she moves. Loose, easy. She looks back once, toward the direction she came from. Then again, across the street. Then she steps inside and sits on the lobby sofa. Behind her, a man climbs the front steps. He does not knock. He looks through the glass into the lobby. He takes something from his pocket and waves her toward the door. She stands. They talk at the threshold for about 40 seconds. The camera records no sound, so no one will ever hear what he says. Whatever it is, it works. She makes a small, welcoming gesture and lets him in. The timestamp reads 10:34. 35 minutes later, the same camera finds him again. He is leaving. Same backpack. The gray sweatshirt is gone. He checks the street and walks off into the dark. 2 people went up, 1 came down. Her name was Pava Marie Lapiere. She was 26 years old, and by Monday morning, the people who loved her most would be standing on a rooftop, learning what the camera already knew. Monday, September 25th, 2023. The offices of EcoMap Technologies fill the ground floor of the building on West Franklin. More than 30 people work there. They come in with coffees. They gather for the morning meetings, and one desk stays empty. That desk belongs to the founder. Pava built EcoMap from an idea. She was the chief executive, and she was a workaholic in the truest sense, someone who lived in the same building she worked in. Her commute was an elevator ride to the ground floor. She was never late. She was never hard to find. So when the meetings start without her, the wrongness of it lands fast, and it lands on everyone at once. Her apartment door is unlocked. No one is inside. Calls to her phone ring out. Someone tries her laptop, her email, her messages. Silence. In the hallway, the team trades notes, and one question keeps circling back. When did anyone last actually hear from her? The answer keeps coming back to Friday, which is when someone says the word roof. At roughly 10 in the morning, the co-founder places a call to the Baltimore police to report her missing. While officers are dispatched, her friends keep searching. Pava loved the roof. It was hers in a way the rest of the building was not. And the man who knew that best was her co-founder, Sherrod Davis. Listen to how he describes what the place meant to her.
Maybe it was Kevin, maybe it was me, but somebody was like, "Do you think maybe she's on the roof?" Because Pava likes to go on the roof sometimes. And it's like a very Pava thing to do, to come home and she loved, she loved her view and loved either from her window or going up on the roof sometimes.
She likes going up there. She would take team members up there, like, "Have you guys been to the roof yet? Oh, okay, let's go."
Like, she's gone on the roof before to just hang out. She loves the Baltimore skyline from there.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought maybe post Artscape, maybe she wanted to see what like Artscape looked like from the roof.
A very Pava thing to do, a view she loved. And that is the reason a friend and employee named Kevin Carter climbs the ladder to the restricted rooftop, expecting, maybe, to find her taking in the skyline. He finds her on her back. What comes next is one of the hardest recordings in this case. It is real. It is a man calling for help with the worst thing he has ever seen, lying a few feet in front of him, and a dispatcher on the line coaxing him closer than he wants to go.
Baltimore City 911 over 1223 is the address of emergency.
Yes, emergency. There's a dead body on the rooftop of 306 West Franklin.
Tell me exactly what happened, Kevin.
We filed a missing person report for my friend and boss this morning, and we just checked the rooftop of the building. I'm looking at her.
Okay, is she awake?
No.
Is she breathing?
No.
Please tell me why does it look like she's dead?
I don't want to get too close. She's.
You gotta get closer, Kevin. Why does it look like she's dead? Come on, Kevin, you got this.
Her face is. She looks like she's been dead for a couple of days, and she's partly naked. I think she was killed.
I'm sending you help, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
All right. Is there anything else we can do for you or your family?
Just send people right away.
Dead for days, partly unclothed. Before the officers even arrive, another friend takes off a jacket and drapes it across her, a small act to hold on to some dignity for a woman who had earned a great deal of it. That instinct to cover her, to protect her, says everything about who she was to the people around her. The scene fills the picture the camera started on Friday. Near her body, a pair of red pants, 2 buttons, a hair clip, 2 red sneakers a few feet away, the ones she had worn out that night, 3 teeth, and a brick marked with what looks like blood. Forensic teams move in and start swabbing, bagging, photographing. The medical examiner arrives and makes it official. Pava Lapiere died from strangulation and blunt force trauma to the head. She had been on that roof for at least 2 days. At least 2 days. All weekend, while her team texted and called and assumed she was heads down on engineering work, she was already up there, above them, the whole time. The investigation begins the only way it can, with the people who knew her. EcoMap's staff are taken to the station and asked the questions that open every case like this. Did she have enemies? Did anyone want to hurt her? And a pattern forms almost immediately, the kind investigators distrust because it is too clean to be useful. No enemies, no threats, no bad word from anyone. A 5'2" founder, her employees called a giant, someone who treated a company of strangers like family. The boyfriend is located and cleared fast. A software engineer named Jeremy, out of town in St. Louis for work all weekend. His last message from Pava came at 10:04 on Friday night. She had written that Artscape was an amazing experience. Then his follow-ups went unanswered, and by then, she was already gone. So, the detectives do what detectives do. They retrace her steps, and the steps lead straight back to the front door on West Franklin, and to the camera above it, and to the footage that opened this story. Except, now they watch it knowing how it ends. 10:30 on Friday night. Pava comes home from the festival, relaxed, glancing back at the lights. The man appears behind her on the steps. He looks through the glass. He waves her to the door. 40 seconds of conversation with no sound. And then the thing that will haunt everyone who loved her. She lets him in. The man on the tape is not a stranger to the Baltimore police. He is identified quickly, and the reason is sickening. They were already hunting him. 32-year-old Jason Billingsley had been hired as a maintenance worker at a building on Edmondson Avenue. 3 days before Pava returned from Artscape on September 19th, he used that job to get through a locked door. A young couple lived there, April Hurley and her boyfriend Jonte Gilmore. He banged on their door and told them the kitchen was flooding. When April opened it, he forced his way in. What he did to them is beyond the reach of restraint to soften, so it will be said once and plainly. He bound them, he assaulted April and cut her throat. He poured gasoline over both of them and set the building on fire. They lived. That they lived is its own kind of miracle. April climbed out through a basement window with burns over her body and came back with help. Both of them were rushed to the hospital in serious condition, carrying 2nd and 3rd degree burns and injuries meant to kill them. He left evidence behind. A knife, handcuffs, duct tape, a hoodie. He was also known to the couple, so by the night Pava met him on the street, an arrest warrant already had his name on it, and a killer was walking free through the city while the paperwork caught up. Some would argue, and argue with cause, that the search for him was not urgent enough. The manhunt only became public after the camera on West Franklin tied him to a second victim, only after Pava. The police commissioner would later say that going public made the hunt harder, because now the man knew they were coming. And still, once he had been placed in that building with her, the city had to be warned. There was a rapist and a killer somewhere in Baltimore, and people needed to know.
This individual will kill and he will rape. He will do anything he can to cause harm. So please be aware of your surroundings. Every single police officer in Baltimore City, the state of Maryland, as well as the U.S. Marshals are looking for you. We will find you.
We will find you. Blunt, public, and true. The full weight of the Baltimore police, the state of Maryland, and the United States Marshals turned toward one man. The thing is, he should never have been on that street to be hunted at all. Jason Billingsley had a criminal record that ran back to 2009, a stack of convictions from assault to robbery built up over just a few years. In 2015, he was sentenced to 14 years in prison for a brutal sexual assault on a young woman he knew personally. 14 years. He served a fraction of it. In October of 2022, he walked out early on good time credits, a program that trims sentences for good behavior and can do it automatically without a parole board weighing whether the person is safe to release. Here is the detail that turns grief into rage. In his case, a parole board had already looked at him, twice, and twice it had refused to let him go, because he was still a danger. The board said no. The credits said yes. The credits won. Less than a year later, 2 women were fighting for their lives at his hands, and one of them lost. The hunt ends on September 27th, 2 days after Pava was found. A marshal's task force traces him to a train station in Bowie, Maryland. He was on his way to his sister's home. They take him into custody without incident, and the man who had terrorized the city walks quietly into a room to answer for it. He has read his rights. He acknowledges them, initials each one, and waives them. Then 2 detectives sit across from him and stop pretending they need his help to know what happened. They open by laying it flat.
You went in there fully clothed, and you came out there partially clothed, right? And we found a white female dead up on the roof, and you're being charged with that murder. Let me ask you this. Were you at 306? That is the address, right? Yeah, 306. 306 West Franklin Street? You're not answering that? Okay.
Went in fully clothed, came out partially clothed. A white female dead on the roof, charged with that murder. No question mark on any of it. He does not answer whether he was at the address. He gives them a different thread instead, muttering about being set up, about his own sister, about getting caught. And that is when one of the detectives decides Jason needs to understand exactly who he took.
That's crazy. Let me tell you what's crazy. What's crazy is this young lady was a pillar in the community, going into her apartment, trying to make her life better and the lives better for everybody around her. She fought for Black Lives Matter. She fought for police injustice, right? She fought for all of that. She was an advocate for all of that. And the very thing and the very people she fought for, she died at the hands of this guy right here. She died at the hands of this guy here, the guy that she would advocate for. The guy, so that's what's f***ed up.
Sit with the cruelty of that. Pava Lapiere spent her short life fighting for the very people the system fails. She advocated against police injustice. She fought for the dignity of Black lives in a city that had every reason to distrust the badge. She believed a stranger on the street at night deserved her trust rather than her fear. And that belief, that refusal to be biased, is precisely the door she opened. The detective does not let him look away from it.
Ecomat technology stands against systemic racism, bigotry, in a police state that criminalizes Black bodies. That's what she promoted. That's what she was about. That's why she trusted and wasn't biased and trusted that you would be an honorable person and let you in the building.
That is what she was about. That is why she trusted. That is why she let you in. The room goes quiet under the weight of it, and something in Jason starts to give. The detectives have the tape. They know he followed her, that she let him in, that they went to the roof, and that only one of them came back down. What they want is the 40 seconds with no sound. What did he say at that door? So they ask the smallest possible question. Where did you first see her? And he begins to talk.
I wanted to talk to you for a minute. Said, why you want to talk to me? That's what I said.
And what did she say?
She opened the door.
So you said, I wanted to talk to you for a minute. But what made you first think that you wanted to talk to her? Where did you see her at first?
Walking up the street.
Did you say anything to her at that point?
No, she had stopped and said something to me. She was drunk a little bit.
Okay. And what did she say?
So it was kind of like something funny or something, I don't know.
A little joke or something.
Yeah, like a little joke.
Mm-hmm.
She left. I followed. I went and asked her why she don't talk to me for a little bit more. And she opened the door.
She was walking. She stopped and made a joke, a small, friendly thing, the kind of thing a warm person does with a stranger. Then she left, and he followed. He wanted, he says, to ask why she would not talk to him a little longer. He trails her home. She opens the door. In his own flat voice, he lays out the path from a sidewalk joke to a locked building, and every step of it is a step she took toward kindness and he took toward her. Then the roof.
We went up to the roof.
What made you all go to the roof?
She brought it up.
What'd she say?
She said, come on, I want to show you something.
Mm-hmm.
And we went.
Okay. And how did you get up to the roof?
The ladder.
Okay. And once you got up on the roof, what happened?
She was talking for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. What was she talking about?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. What were you talking about?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just.
And then what happened?
Just blacked out.
Come on, I want to show you something. Her words, by his account, the last invitation of a generous person to a person she had no reason to fear. They climb the ladder. She talks for a while about nothing in particular, and then he says he blacked out. The blackout does not hold, and the detectives do not let it. He remembers the street. He remembers following her. He remembers the conversation. He remembers leaving the roof. The one gap in a night he otherwise recalls in detail is the gap where he killed her, and there is every reason to believe he knew exactly what he was doing. Pressed on why, he cannot give them a reason. What he gives them instead is the most disturbing passage in the whole record.
I don't know what we got on the roof. I don't know, it was like something in my head, like just one person saying, don't do it. One person saying, don't do it. Don't do it, you got too much going on. And then like this demon, like, it was just like, it seemed like it was just waiting to just be let out or something like that.
But when you were her, what was your intentions?
I don't know. I don't know. I ain't.
Two voices in his head, he says, one telling him, don't do it, and a demon waiting to be let out. No motive, no grievance, no robbery gone wrong. Just a man on a roof describing a fight he claims to have had with himself and telling you which side won.
Like, I ask myself, like, why I do it? And I don't know why I do it. Why I did it. I don't know, like, my conscience and everything else was saying, just go right downstairs. Just go right downstairs. And then, I don't know, it was just something that just had to do it.
Something he just had to do. That is the whole of it. He admits to picking up the brick and striking her with it. He will say nothing more about the attack itself. And when the detectives turn to April and Jonte, to the fire, to the couple he tried to burn alive 3 days earlier, the talking stops cold. On Pava, he confesses. On them, he admits nothing at all. For a while, he fights it. Jason initially pleads not guilty to the long list of charges. His defense attorney argues that the confession was coerced, that he never truly understood the rights he waived. The legal machinery grinds forward, slow and procedural, the way it always does. And while the lawyers file their motions, the people he hurt refuse to disappear. April Hurley survived a cut throat and a burning building. She could have vanished into recovery, and no one would have judged her for it. Instead, she sat in front of cameras, still healing, and made herself heard.
The fact that I'm sitting here in front of you guys today is honestly a miracle. Sometimes it's still unbelievable that I'm here. Jason Billingsley literally tried to take my life. He tried to take my life, and this could have been prevented.
A miracle that she is here, And this could have been prevented. That last line is the one that matters, because it turns a personal nightmare into an indictment of a system. April sued her landlord and the property management company, arguing they hired a convicted, violent sex offender as a maintenance worker and handed him keys to the building where she slept without ever checking who he was. A Baltimore City jury agreed. They awarded April and Jonte a verdict of $21.5 million against the companies that failed, utterly, to do the most basic homework on the man they let inside. A number that says out loud what the good time credits said in silence. Someone should have known. Someone should have looked. The criminal case ends the way the evidence demanded. Jason Billingsley eventually reaches a plea deal in both cases. For the rape, torture, and attempted murder of April Hurley, and the attempted murder of Jonte Gilmore, he receives 2 life sentences. For the murder of Pava Lapiere, another life sentence, to be served consecutively. On paper, he could become eligible for parole after serving 60 years, at which point he would be about 93 years old. Prosecutors and legal experts say plainly what everyone already feels. He is not getting out. 3 life sentences, a $21.5 million verdict, and none of it, not one page of it, brings back the woman who opened the door. Her family lives with the arithmetic of that every day. Her father, Frank Lapiere, stood in public and introduced himself the only way a father in that position can.
I greet you as the proud father of Pava Marie Lapiere, my only daughter, and the latest victim of Jason Billingsley. However, Pava was not his only victim. Her grieving mother, Caroline, and her loving brother, Nico, are also victims. The first violent crime which has been stated, which he pled guilty for and was convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison for, happened in 2015, and yet he was released early in October of 2022. And Governor Moore has stated emphatically on multiple occasions that the system failed Pava. It's time to change that system.
The proud father of his only daughter, the latest victim of a man who should have been behind bars. He laid it out for anyone who would listen. A violent crime in 2015, a guilty plea, a 30-year exposure, an early release in October of 2022, and a governor who has said, more than once, that the system failed his daughter. Frank did not come to grieve quietly. He came with a purpose, and he named it.
Of course I struggle here, because I've never had a more profound loss. It's hard to talk, focus, get up every day. But I have an important mission. I'm here for 2 reasons. Preserve the legacy of Pava Marie Lapiere, and please, all of us, we need to prevent the violence in our society through whatever means available.
A mission. Out of the worst loss a parent can carry, a reason to get up. And he built something real from it. In May of 2024, the Pava Marie Lapiere Act was signed into law, closing the good time credit loophole for those convicted of first-degree sex offenses. So no parole board's refusal can be quietly overruled by a spreadsheet ever again. On the same day, a second law inspired by her came into effect, the Pava Lapiere Legacy of Innovation Act, funding startup grants for student entrepreneurs in Baltimore, the exact kind of young dreamer she spent her life lifting up. Johns Hopkins renamed its innovation hub after her. Her name now sits on a building where the next Pava will build the next idea. She was 26. She was 5'2". She was a Forbes honoree, a founder, a friend, her employees called family, a woman who believed the way to change a broken world was to fix the systems that broke it. She trusted a stranger because trusting people was the whole architecture of her life. That trust is what he used against her. And even knowing all of it, her father would not let the story end in hate.
Acceptable justice may have been served today, but it will never fill the void, erase the grief, or replace the impact that Pava would have had given the full life that she so deserved. I know that he did not have a good life. I know that there are 5 siblings. I know they were all given up. And they grew up separately and independently in foster care. And I was sorry that what possibly could have been a prosperous life of his was taken from him at an early age and created, unfortunately, the monster that attacked April and Jonte and murdered our daughter. And I pray for his mother and that she may find peace. But other than that, I don't have any other feelings about Mr. Billingsley.
Justice, he says, will never fill the void. And still, he speaks of the man who murdered his daughter with something close to grace. A life given up to foster care, 5 siblings scattered, a childhood that built a monster where a person should have been. He does not excuse it. He simply refuses to become it. And in the end, he says he prays for the killer's mother, that she may find some peace. That is the last word this case deserves. Not the demon Jason described, not the brick or the roof or the 35 minutes on a silent camera. A grieving father, choosing mercy he was never obligated to give, so that the final sound in his daughter's story is not the one her killer made. Pava Lapiere opened a door for someone the world had thrown away. It cost her everything. Her father spent what was left standing in that same doorway, holding it open anyway.